Though given that the Deputy Prime Minister clearly thinks the Prime Minister has always been match fit, how does he feel that his own MPs are given the boss the red card and brought on a left winger to get them out of the relegation zone?
That's not bad for someone who represents the Premier League side. But 2 years since the election, the honourable member still needs to engage with the facts of the Tories' failed period in government. As his colleagues now accept this, the former Treasury Minister, the former Community Secretary, the former Health Minister, the former Immigration Minister, and that's just the member for Newark, who wrecked the country, helped wreck the Tory party, and now wants to do it all over again with reform.
Jeff Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In 3 weeks' time, Greater Manchester residents will have the chance to vote for Labour's brilliant candidate, Bev Craig, to be I've worked with Bev for many years, so I know her strong record as a leader and what an outstanding mayor she'll be. Will the Deputy Prime Minister join me in welcoming Bev's pledge to extend free travel on public transport to all 11 to 18-year-olds? So all our young people in Greater Manchester can have the independence to travel to the work, education and leisure opportunities they deserve.
Well, I agree with my honourable friend. Bev Craig will be a brilliant mayor for Greater Manchester. I'm proud that Labour is putting power over bus services back in the hands of local leaders. This government has extended franchising powers, capped fares, invested to deliver better services, and we're ensuring children can enjoy free bus travel this summer. I'm sure colleagues will want to get behind Bev in Greater Manchester so that we can defeat Reform's divisive candidate and drive the agenda forward under a new mayor.
Shadow Secretary of State, Sir James Cleverly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to echo the Right Honourable Gentleman's tribute to Sir George Howarth and pass on my party's condolences to his friends, family and loved ones. I also wish to echo his support and encouragement to the England football team in their forthcoming match against Norway. And of course, I will echo his words about those people murdered on 7/7, their friends, their families, but also pay tribute to the emergency services that did so much on that day. Will he apologise to the victims of the rapists, sexual predators and paedophiles that he is planning to release early?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm delighted to welcome the Shadow Housing Secretary to the dispatch box. He, of course, could have been doing this job every week if he were better with numbers. He's the Foreign Secretary. He was the Foreign Secretary in government that botched Brexit, the Home Secretary in a government that decimated neighbourhood policing, and one of the shortest-serving education secretaries in our history. Now, he asks about a very serious issue, and every decision we have taken has been based on public safety and delivering justice for victims. Let's talk about the context. The last Labour government built 28,000 prison places. We're building 14,000 by 2031. We've already delivered 3,200. Under the Tories, they closed 23 prisons. 23. Gloucester closed. Shrewsbury closed. Portsmouth closed. Holloway closed. Northallerton closed. And what are they now? A block of flats. That's why we have to have an early release scheme. That's why we passed the Sentencing Act. And we're putting community powers locally to make sure that we protect the public.
Sir James Cleverly.
Mr. Speaker, he makes a joke about use of figures. Let me give him a figure. 50,000 prisoners released early in just 2 years on his watch. And I am genuinely shocked. Mr. Speaker, that when given the opportunity to apologise to victims, he very publicly failed to do so. And let me remind him what this is about. Let me quote Fiona Goddard, herself a victim of grooming gangs, who has been brave and open about how his policy will impact her. And she says, Finding out that they may be released early has completely set me back. I have barely left the house. I feel constantly anxious, frightened, and unsafe. I can barely sleep. This is the impact his policy is having on victims. He refuses to apologise. But why is he pursuing a policy which he must know is both wrong and dangerous?
This is a very serious issue, and the honourable gentleman is experienced in this House. He knows that while he was Home Secretary, they had an early release scheme that set out 10,000 offenders, 10,000 under his... They had 6 schemes within a year. They had a scheme that they announced on the 6th now to fix the system. Of course, we think of every victim. And that's why we're notifying victims in discussion with all victims. I sat last week in my surgery with a victim of grooming gangs. All of us want to see offenders locked up. That's why we've got to have prison capacity.
Sir James Cleverly.
Mr. Speaker, he talks about 10,000 early release over 14 years of Conservative government. They have released 50,000 in 2 years. But his party knows it's wrong. 400 Labour MPs and not one voted to support the government's policy in the vote last night. They know it's wrong. The country knows it's wrong, but he insists on pursuing it anyway. So if he will not change course, will he at least make this guarantee that not one rapist or paedophile will be released early later on this year?
He hasn't proposed what they would do if they were in office. They released 10,000 with 4 different schemes, no impact assessment when they released them, no victim contact when they released them, no warning. They did it on the sly. And let us be clear, yes, we've got more probation officers. They, of course, cut probation, decimated it because of Chris Grayling. We've invested £700 million in probation. We're rolling out the largest programme of tagging in our history. We're forcing offenders to stay boxed in certain areas rather than where victims are. We're creating alcohol, pub, football and driving bans. We're implementing income reduction orders, and we're expanding chemical castration for sex offenders. None of it happened when they were in power.
Sir James Cleverly.
Mr. Speaker, he will look back on this exchange and I think he will be shocked by how this is coming across. No apology to the victims, no guarantee that paedophiles and rapists will not be released early. We all know that releasing dangerous criminals on purpose is the wrong thing. But not content with doing that, he is hell-bent on releasing dangerous criminals by accident. Last year, in response to the questions of my right honourable friend, the member for South Suffolk, he claimed that under Labour he had got a grip of accidental releases. Yet we now know there have been more accidental releases in the last 2 years than in the entirety of the last Parliament. So I give him another chance. Will he apologise to the country for his abject failure at keeping prisoners in prison where they belong?
I've got to say, this is rich coming from the honourable gentleman. Exactly. They had 14 long years in power. They wrecked neighbourhood policing. He was Home Secretary. Prisons were at bursting point. That's why they called the general election. And they let out offenders in secret. And that is why we have the Sentencing Act that passed through this House and the House of Lords. What we're doing is we are getting thousands more bobbies on the beat. We're toughening up probation. They decimated it. And we have to have the space to knock up dangerous criminals. That's why we passed the sentencing bill.
Sir James Cleverly.
Mr. Speaker, it's the dangerous criminals that he is letting out early. So he refuses to apologise to victims, he refuses to guarantee that sexual offenders and rapists will not be released early. Another thing that the country and indeed this House knows instinctively is wrong is his personal crusade to scrap trial by jury. We know that it will not clear the backlog. We know that it undermines fundamental British freedoms, and we know the legal profession is united against it. So will he now admit that it is wrong, and will he commit to reverse his proposals to scrap trial by jury?
Well, let's be clear, Mr. Speaker. There is no proposal before this House to scrap trial by jury. The honourable member needs to do better and get on the detail. There is a threshold change. There is a threshold change. Margaret Thatcher made a change to jury trials. David Cameron made a change to jury trials. The vast majority of criminal cases in this country are dealt with by magistrates, again, which they cut. We're restoring the magistracy, and they can do more. We're investing in our courts. They ran our courts down. We're modernising our courts. We're introducing digital ID, and we need reform.
Sir James Cleverly.
Mr. Speaker, he talks in glowing terms about what he's claiming to do. What we are actually seeing this government doing is stripping money from where it's needed and squandering it on the welfare bill, which has ballooned by £20 billion this year alone. And he talks about getting over the detail. Here's a simple detail for him. When I was Home Secretary, we had more police officers than at any point in British history. Since taking over, that number has dropped by over 2,000 officers. Mr. Speaker, at the dispatch box last week, my right honourable friend, the Leader of the Opposition, highlighted this government's failure to defend us internationally. Today, I have outlined his failure to defend us domestically. If the soon-to-be Prime Minister... Is he in the room anywhere? No. If the soon-to-be Prime Minister does not want to be complicit in his failure, he should come out and condemn this plan, not just hint that he opposes it. Because if Labour cannot protect the citizens of this country, either domestically or internationally, then what on earth is the point of them?
Mr. Speaker, he insists on proving that he can't count. We lost 16,000 police officers when they were in power. Mr. Speaker, the British people haven't forgotten what the party opposite did to our country. After 2 years of a Labour government, I'll compare our record every day of the week. Their record is the biggest fall in living standards in recorded history. Our record is the biggest upgrade to workers' rights in a generation. Their record is wrecking our criminal justice system. Our record is bringing down violent crime. Their record is millions of people stuck on NHS waiting lists. Our record is cutting NHS waiting lists, the fastest rate in history. Their record is cutting defence. He was a reservist. They hollowed out the armed forces. Our record is the biggest boost to defence spending since the early 1990s. And their record is plunging hundreds of thousands of children into poverty. Our record is lifting 500,000 of children out of poverty. I'll take our record over theirs any day of the week.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Family C official report about the most depraved sexual abuse of children identifies serious failures by Glasgow City Council and other bodies. The report, Mr. Speaker, says one child victim banged on the windows, shouting at a health visitor not to leave. This was treated as streetwise and not a desperate cry for help. Staff described the same child with contempt, saying the child's behaviour was nasty and interfering. The children desperately needed compassion, love and safety, not contempt. Does my right honourable friend agree with me that the Council must accept robust, independent scrutiny of what has happened and independent scrutiny of the implementation of improvements?
Well, Mr. Speaker, this case involves horrific offences against vulnerable children. I know all members of this House will join me in paying tribute to the victims who've shown remarkable bravery in coming forwards. It's evident that these children were dreadfully failed, and Glasgow City Council must urgently act on the recommendations of this review. I know my honourable friend has written to the Scottish Government to request an independent inquiry. The SNP should consider this request with the gravity that it deserves.
Daisy Cooper, Deputy Leader of the Liberal Democrats.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May I associate myself and my party with the Deputy Prime Minister's tribute to Sir George Howarth, his remarks about the 7/7 bombings and all those who live with the consequences of that terrible day, and wish England good luck for Saturday evening. And as the UK braces for its 7th Prime Minister in a decade, can I also thank the Deputy Prime Minister for our exchanges and wish him well in whatever role he may have. Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Member for Clacton used to say... Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Member for Clacton used to say, leave means leave. But it seems his latest stunt is to leave this place just so that he can return as a fully fledged member after not just one referendum on his behaviour, Mr. Speaker, but possibly 2. So will the Deputy Prime Minister join us in urging the Chancellor to delay the Honourable Member for Clacton's resignation until the investigation is complete, so the good people of Clacton have all the facts before they cast their votes, and failing that, will he support our Clacton clause so that even once the Honourable Member ceases to be an MP, the investigations can continue?
Well, everyone can see that the Reform leader is just trying to distract from the fact that he's up to his neck in sleaze. He's got serious questions to answer and he can't run away from them. Labour isn't going to be part of this circus. I hear it's the people versus the establishment, the city trader Putin admiring professional politician who's pals with crypto billionaires versus Count Binface. There have been unqualified joke candidates in the past. Let's see what the people of Clacton decide.
Daisy Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's clear it's a 2-horse race. Mr. Speaker, on a more serious and very sombre note. On a sombre note, Mr. Speaker, on a sombre note, MI5 has defended in court an agent that they knew to be openly misogynistic, obsessed with violence, and who used his position to coercively control his girlfriend Beth and attack her with a machete. To add insult to injury, MI5 also gave false evidence to the court. So will the Deputy Prime Minister use this opportunity to offer Beth a full apology on behalf of the government? And will he use his position to bring back a full Hillsborough Bill next week which covers the security services so that we can pass the law before the summer recess?
Well, she raises a very serious issue, of course, and I will arrange for Beth to meet with the Security Minister to discuss this in detail. She also raises the Hillsborough Bill, and I'm confident that this will be before the House in the coming days.
Emily Darwin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Deputy Prime Minister and most of us across this House have been victims of AI-generated fake news, aka deepfakes. These mislead the public and they disrupt our democracy. BBC News coverage and coverage from other news channels is also being AI manipulated to tell untruths. Will he, alongside MPs from across this House, support the amendments I've tabled to the Representation of Peoples Act, which would force anything that is AI created to be labelled as such, and stop the production of deep fakes of ourselves and colleagues, and stop the UK from these destructive tactics used by foreign states and others who wish to see our democracy made weaker.
Well, I'm very grateful to my honourable friend. She's right that our protections must keep pace with evolving threats, including deepfakes. I know she's been in close discussions with ministers on this issue, and we will look at her amendment closely. We're absolutely focused on protecting our democracy against foreign interference.
Dr. Ellie Chant.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our politics needs fixing fast. The broken, outdated first-past-the-post system has clearly failed to deliver stable government. We urgently need to rebuild trust in our democracy and ensure that everybody's vote counts equally. So does the Deputy Prime Minister agree with the Right Honourable Member for Makerfield that proportional representation is an idea whose time has come? And does he agree with me and members across this House that time is now, before the next general election?
Well, I'm very pleased that she raises the issue of votes and democracies. But I've got to say this to the Greens. During the local elections, a Green councillor in Lewisham described me and the Shadow Foreign Secretary as coconuts. Her party looked the other way, kept her candidate in post, and have rewarded that candidate with a council job. I'm not making this up, the Cabinet Member for Healing. The Greens could start a healing process by stopping such racist language.
Douglas McAllister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This week marks the second anniversary of our Labour government, and 2 years on, 2 years on, my Western Bartonshire constituents now enjoy greater rights at work. Thousands of workers are now better off thanks to increases in national minimum wage. Thousands of children lifted out of poverty. Tens of millions of pounds in pride and place funding to communities previously left behind. Shipbuilding on decline secured with the Norwegian naval deal. Billions of pounds investment in Fast Lane. As well as a new youth hub set to open next month.
I think even the one who's insisting down, it's not me. I think the Deputy Prime Minister could even answer that because he wants to answer.
Well, can I commend my honourable friend for the difference that he's made, including his hard work to bring pride of place funding to his constituency. He lists an amazing record in 2 years, and we've got 3 more to go, Mr. Speaker.
James Murdoch.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Understandably, over the past week, rules and regulations have come under sharp focus. But even more important than the rules and regulation is the law. And on that topic, I believe there are a number of things where everyone in the House can agree and everyone in the House can feel proud. Phrases such as without fear and favour, and symbols such as Lady Justice wearing a blindfold. Now, I'd like to ask the Deputy Prime Minister, however well-meaning actions from the MPCC and the College of Policing with their programmes such as the Race Action Plan may be, we have seen some very high-profile cases where civil unrest has, where faith in police has been shaken by what appears to be two-tier decision-making. So may I ask in good faith what the Deputy Prime Minister can do to reassure people that without fear and favour will always be maintained?
Well, can I say to the honourable gentleman, everyone is equal before the law. That is the foundation on which openness, tolerance and generosity of this country is rested. And let's be clear, there is no two-tier justice in this country. And can I say, the honourable member was elected as a Reform Member of Parliament, and he clearly aspires to become one once more. Given reports that concerns were raised with the National Crime Agency about Nigel Farag's £5 million gift, he should be asking, where did the money really come from?
No law.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm deeply grateful for what the Prime Minister has helped us deliver in Cornwall the past couple of years, whether that's free breakfast clubs, urgent capital funding for GP surgeries, or the Kernow Industrial Growth Fund. However, what's held us back at various points, not beside the chuntering from the other side, I would argue completely unnecessarily, is something to which the answer is patently obvious to all in Cornwall: the question of who should be the masters of Cornwall's strategic destiny. Does he agree with me that the answer to this question must always be Cornwall? And will he make time for the government to lay the statutory instrument required to make Cornwall once and for all a strategic authority, so that when the Right Honourable Member for Makerfield comes in, that we can ensure that good growth in every postcode and reindustrialisation of Cornwall?
Well, can I thank my honourable friend? He's right to champion the huge potential of Cornwall. We're absolutely committed to devolution and putting power in the hands of local leaders. Conversations with local authorities, including Cornwall, are ongoing, and we will confirm next steps as soon as possible. I know ministers will be happy to update him.
Dr. Ros Savage.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My constituency of the South Cotswolds is the 9th most sewage polluted constituency in the entire country, with thousands of hours of sewage pouring into the Thames, Avon and Colne. But that metric of hours conceals the truth. It doesn't convey the actual volume, and clearly a trickle is very different from a gush. So will the Deputy Prime Minister arrange for me to meet with the relevant minister to require water companies to report on the volume and concentration of sewage discharges, as well as the number of hours?
Well, she's right. We inherited record levels of pollution. We're determined to tackle this and clean our waterways. We've acted by banning unfair bonuses, introducing jail time for law-breaking bosses, unlocking $104 billion of private investment to rebuild vital infrastructure to deliver cleaner waters, and of course we've got the Clean Water Bill. Of course I'll arrange for her to meet with the Minister.
Cat Ettles.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Stourbridge is famous for many things: the glass industry, Jude Bellingham, Robert Plant, and most importantly, the Stourbridge Shuttle, the UK's shortest railway line at just 0.8 miles, or 1.3 kilometres if you prefer metric, and it links Stourbridge Junction with Stourbridge Town. Despite its small size, it achieves an impressive 99.6% reliability compared to the West Midlands average of 64.4%. And one of my highlights as an MP was unveiling a shuttle car named after local legend George the Stourbridge Station Cat, whose global social media following made him a beloved fixture at the junction. And today marks the start of Shuttle Shorts, a short film festival celebrating the journey. The shuttle shows how community railway can improve local mobility. Does he agree that the pre-Metro ambition to introduce a VLR service between Stourbridge and Brierley Hill is a valuable opportunity for GBR, and local businesses should be supported to do this?
First, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to make a statement about the future. It is coming home. And can I thank my honourable friend? I'm absolutely echo her sentiments on Jude Bellingham. He's not only making Stourbridge proud, but he's a source of pride for the whole nation. Great British Railways is in the biggest overhaul we're seeing of our railways in a generation. We'll work with all partners, including local authorities and local business, to drive investment, support economic growth and deliver better service for her constituents.
Morgan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Constituents in the west side of North Shropshire were delighted when RIS3 was announced, because as part of the National Safety Programme, a roundabout at the desperately dangerous Hlunkus Crossroads became a step closer. But with the announcement that the Defence Investment Programme will be funded by cuts to transport programmes, can the Deputy Prime Minister reassure my constituents that the National Safety Programme won't be cut? And can he consider using the Liberal Democrat idea of defence bonds to fund the Defence Investment Plan, so that critical security projects like transport are not put at risk through the programme?
We are raising defence spending to keep this country safe in an increasingly volatile world. That does require tough decisions, and the Department of Transport will set out £700 million worth of savings for roads funding, but we will consult on the next road investment strategy and set our decisions in due course. I can reassure the Honourable Lady that safety of passengers would always come first.
Pam Cox.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Speaker. Ruth Ellis was the last woman to be executed in this country. Her case serves as a haunting reminder of a time when our justice system ignored the realities of domestic abuse and coercive control. In the decades since, members of Ruth's family and supporters have campaigned unwaveringly for her to receive a posthumous pardon. Will the Deputy Prime Minister agree with me that their courageous campaign and the terrible lessons of Ruth's case must strengthen the government's resolve to free women from devastating cycles of abuse?
Well, I'm very grateful to my honourable friend. I have the honour to say that His Majesty the King has accepted our advice to grant Ruth Ellis a conditional pardon, the last woman to be hanged in the United Kingdom. While the pardon does not claim she was innocent of killing David Blakely, it replaces the death penalty with a sentence of life imprisonment to recognise a profound injustice in this exceptional case. I know her grandchildren, Laura Enston, Stephen Beard, are in the gallery with us today. We hope this brings a measure of peace to Ruth Ellis' family, who have carried the weight of what happened to her for over 70 years.
Gregory Camp.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Government have said that higher taxes are needed to fund rising welfare spending. In Northern Ireland, my party's Communities Minister is taking action to reduce welfare fraud and error. Previous discussions were held between Treasury and the Department that would have allowed Northern Ireland departments to retain a share of any savings to invest directly in public services, but those proposals were blocked by Sinn Féin. Would the Deputy Prime Minister ensure that the incoming Prime Minister will look at that approach again so that we can tackle benefit fraud, protect taxpayers' money, as well as delivering real benefits for communities across all of Northern Ireland?
Well, I know that my honourable friend, the Minister for Northern Ireland, is discussing the budget at this very time, but tackling fraud and error in the welfare system is a priority for this government. That's why we passed the Fraud, Error and Recovery Act, giving the DWP more powers to stop fraud in its tracks, recover money lost and prevent overpayments.
Murphy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday I was proud to host a number of Basingstoke's Nepalese community here in Parliament, including a number of Gurkha veterans. One of the issues we discussed was that of Gurkha pensions, and I pay tribute to the work of my honourable friend from Aldershot for all of her work on this issue. I've been proud to work alongside her. Does the Deputy Prime Minister agree that it is time to resolve the long-standing issue of Gurkha pensions, recognising the service and sacrifice of Gurkha veterans to our country?
Well, I'm very grateful to my honourable friend. We owe a profound debt of gratitude to the Gurkhas who have served this country courageously. We're listening to the needs of the community and we're already improving access to healthcare and community support. Ministers have met with veterans in the government of Nepal for constructive discussions on pensions. Those will continue, and I'd be happy to ensure that my honourable friend is kept updated.
Rebecca Paul.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Coughlin's Bakery, which was founded in 1937, has announced the closure of all of its stores, 5 of which are in my Reigate constituency. The reasons given by Sean Coughlin include recent employer national insurance and business rate hikes. This much-loved family business that has survived a world war and multiple recessions hasn't been able to survive this Labour government. So I ask the Deputy Prime Minister, how many businesses need to go under before this government learns that it can't tax its way to growth?
We're backing business with the lowest corporation tax in the G7. We've delivered the small business plan with the largest crackdown on late payments in 25 years. We're bringing down costs of business through 5 major trade deals. We've secured $365 billion in private investments since the election, and unemployment down over 400,000 more people in work than this time last year.
Final question for Session Lammy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last month I had the opportunity to host the South Bank Centre in my constituency, one of the many that I'm proud to have across Vauxhall and Campbell Green, for their 75th anniversary. The House may know that the South Bank Centre was built as part of the Festival of Britain 1951, which successfully saw People come together to share the identity after the ruins of the World War II. 75 years on, Mr. Speaker, sadly, the world is a more divided place. Recently, we've seen 2 far-right marches, including one going through my constituency, leaving many members feeling afraid. But, Mr. Speaker, there is hope, as we see with the World Cup bringing people together, showing the power of culture and sport. So does the Deputy Prime Minister agree with me? Now's the moment to continue to invest in the things that bring us together, just as the government did in 1951.
Yeah. Well, can I thank my honourable friend for the tireless work that she does in this area. She's absolutely right. We must stand united against those who seek to divide us. Our Social Cohesion Action Plan sets out how we will tackle extremism, bring communities together and restore national pride, and we're providing local communities with up to 1.7 million to insulate them against the threats to social cohesion.
Right, that completes Deputy Prime Minister's questions. Let the front bench change over.